Hey, babe. Hello, all, and welcome to the Affluent Marriage Podcast. You're listening to one prophet coach and one educator talk about living a rich and full marriage through generational wealth building principles, authentic two-way communication strategies, and everything in between to become a couple that lives in love and walks in wealth. Your legacy begins here.
Hi, guys.
Good afternoon.
How are you doing? Oh my gosh. Are you happy this week, babe?
Oh, I'm thoroughly enjoying the fact that I'm off on this Friday. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Rosh Hashanah.
Rosh Hashanah. This is a Friday and he is off and it's the middle of the day. And I think our listeners are going to notice a difference in our cadence and our happy and our peppiness because it's not 9 or 10 o'clock at night.
Yup.
When it's during the day and there's like sun, we're all like, hello, how are you doing? We're just a whole different vibe.
Right. When you can open the windows and let that natural light in, it's a beautiful thing.
It's a beautiful
We've had a very productive day. Mm-hmm. We have spent our morning cleaning the house, but also taking all of these boxes that we've had packed up in our bedroom out to the van, over to the storage unit, got it all set up. So we are slowly but surely moving things out of this place into the storage unit so that we can rent this property out.
Yeah, and then we had some fun events. I'm decided to do a little bit of vlogging on our journey.
Whatever sparks joy. Vlogging does not spark joy for me, but I'm love that that's an avenue that you're exploring.
We're already on YouTube. It's not that we have a ton of subscribers. If you want to subscribe, you should. But I'm just like, people might want to know, how did you go from podcasting and education, and now you have a business, and now you own property.
Now you're vlogging?
And now you own property. Like, how did you get there? And so I thought it'd be a nice little sidebar to be like, hey, this is what we did this week. So we got a storage unit a couple weeks back, simply for the fact that we can start moving things out. Kind of like, I've been using this word, and I'm going to share it with anybody who desires to embrace it. The word is compound.
Oh man, is this going to be your next tattoo?
This is going to be, no.
Every time Kim gets stuck on a word, she tattoos it to her body. It's only happened once, but what was your word that year? It was fearless.
Shut up.
So now your word is compound.
I like my fearless tattoo, and I'm not going to get another one.
I love that words inspire you and they motivate you.
They do. They motivate me.
Run with it, babe.
I needed to get it tattooed on my body, but compound is not one of those words I'm going to get tattooed. However, I was doing my devotions the other day, and that word resonated with me, to compound. And I've been praying that, I was like, Lord, you are going to compound everything that we do, that it would be that we would do something, and sometimes we can get all into our own head of like, I didn't do enough. And I'm like, no, you know why? Because God's going to compound everything that we did. So us getting the storage unit and moving things out of our house in faith that we're going to have a tenant, that we are going to find a house to live in. We don't have a time frame on it. Like, it's not like we have to do it in 2 months, but like, we want these things. And I'm like, you know what? We're acting in faith, and this act of faith is going to be compounded upon. So if you want to use that like thought process, I actually, while he's looking for, I don't know what, I went to Aldi yesterday because it's his birthday this week. So this past Tuesday was his birthday. Happy birthday, babe.
Thanks, babe. It's been an incredible week, and you have just been rocking it. I mean,
thanks.
Wow.
Happy birthday.
You just know me so well.
You're super special to me, and I love you. So what do you get someone who has a lot of what he wants? The girls got him a new tumbler for work, for water and ice.
Which has been incredible, because you don't realize how bad your old like work water bottle is until you get a new one. And you're like, oh, wow.
The fact that it started as mine and then became yours, and that was like maybe 2-3 years ago, I was like, it's time. So I bought him a new tumbler, but then I got him an Apple Watch that was, it was hidden in the room, and he just found it yesterday. So he got an Apple Watch yesterday, and tomorrow we are giving him the gift of time, and we are cleaning the house, and the girls and I are leaving, and he is spending the whole day with his boys playing video games, because that is what he always says. Yeah, this would be fun if I did this. So we're doing it. We're doing it.
Yeah, I was trying to think of the name of that educator tool that was really big like 4 years ago, where they would like type all the words into a generator and then it would create like a word art.
Yeah, I remember
It's like
that.
Wordle, but Wordle I feel like
Wordle's
was a game.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what I'm talking about. I was envisioning you with all your tattoos, and it's just different words, and you would eventually be like that word art.
I hate you. No, that's not what I want.
All of these different words just
Word art.
built upon each other.
It wasn't word art either. That's
You'd look like a Scrabble board.
You're so dumb. Anyway, all that to say, compound is what we are hoping for. So we're doing all these things in such faith, and I'm so excited. So today, what are we talking? Oh no, there's so many more things that we have to talk about it, because I'm gonna.
So no, I mean it's really just this one thing.
So
We just want to. I know it's almost felt like we had just talked about this because we shot our little promo video before
We
this.
sure did.
But basically, in the next 2 weeks, so at the time of this recording, there is 15 days.
15 days.
By the time you see this, there will be 12 or 11 days left.
Mm-hmm.
Our Millionaire Blueprint Pocket Coaching, it's coming.
It's coming, guys.
It's coming in 15 days. And by the time you hear this, 12 days. And the reason why we're counting down is because that's how many days you have left to jump on this insane deal, where this pocket coaching is only going to be $5. Why? Because that's how much it costs to subscribe to the Affluent Marriage podcast. And that's where we're going to store the Millionaire Blueprint Pocket Coaching. It'll be its own season. So when you go in, you're going to look for season 3, and everything within season 3 is going to be this pocket coaching. What is pocket coaching for those listening, Kim?
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for it, guys, because here's the deal. There are so many things out there that are going to tell you, books, all that stuff, that'll be like, here's what you should do. And we don't have a ton of time. So what we wanted to create was based on our experiences working with different couples, working with different entrepreneurs, working with people and helping them understand how to manage their money well and start communicating with each other. We decided to put all of our knowledge together and create short mini coaching episodes. So these are 15, 20-minute episodes that you can do with your spouse. And in fact, it is very much like, encourage that you do it with your spouse, kind of like as a safe place, which we'll talk about that. We talk about that a lot here, but it's like a safe place thing where you can say, we're going to listen to this and it's going to tell us exactly what we need to do first to, 1, have better communication about our finances, and 2, what we should do to make sure that we are managing our money well, starting to save and starting to like make sure we're getting some good understanding about what we need to do with our debt. And not only your debt, but like we even go into like planning about, your wills, and also making sure that you have, file stuff. Like it's all this type of organizational stuff that it's going to help you be more successful in your marriage and also in your finances. It's like a little mini checklist that you're going to get every single week. It's perfect.
Right. And here's my thing to say. I love that you said time, because when you hire a coach, that's what a coach does for you.
Yeah.
It buys you time.
Yes.
If you wanted to learn how to play an instrument, you wanted to pick up guitar, you could 100% go online, look at videos, get resources, do all of that, and learn to play guitar. You 1000% can do that. It's going to take time. And it's going to take a lot of energy and effort on your part to find all that. If you have the means to hire a guitar coach, you're going to move a lot faster because you literally have that resource right there available to you.
Exactly.
Same thing if you're playing a sport, same thing if you're learning a language. To have somebody who's been there, done that, they're an authority in this space, tell you what you need to do step by step, that's invaluable.
So invaluable.
That's what we're offering.
Yeah.
For the next 12 days at $5, and then it's going to go to its regular price.
And this is just really important for people to recognize. Is there closer proximity that you could get to me as a coach? Absolutely. And if you are interested in that along with this, just DM me. I'm at KG Millionaire
What do you mean
Coach.
along with this? You gave me a little head nod.
Along with, not this, not you, along with pocket coaching.
You're like, hey, you get me along with.
No, I was talking about
this.
pocket coaching, not you.
I had a very exaggerated head nod there pointing to you.
It wasn't for you.
I was like, I'm glad to just be this to you.
No, I was thinking about the fact that, Millionaire Blueprint coaching, right, is great. It's amazing. Again, little mini checkpoints, like you're good. But if you have additional questions about your specific situation and you're looking for even more coaching along with this, the Millionaire Blueprint coaching.
Got it now.
Then DM me. KG Millionaire Coach is my handle on Instagram. Just let me know. Hey, Kim, I would love to know what it looks like to work with you closely to make sure that we are getting even more optimized support out of this coaching. I would love to support you with that. And so all that to say, like, I'm really excited for this to be released. The stuff that we've done so far has just been so good and very focused, to the point, and not at all fluffy at all.
So today's podcast, we are picking up where we left off last week. Last week we talked about discipline. What discipline is.
So scary.
I mean, that's what you decided to say. You went there. So we talked about what discipline is and why it is so important. Today, we're going to talk more about how to become disciplined, or how to stay disciplined. I have a lot of categories, and we're not really going to harp on all of them.
No.
If that is something that you are interested in, you can 100% hit us up at the Affluent Marriage Pod on Instagram, or you can reach out to KG Millionaire Coach and be like, I want to know more about this category. You briefly touched on it, but I need to know.
Yes. And we would love to do additional episodes on stuff like that. If you guys tell us what you want to listen to or what you want to learn more about, we have no problem bringing that to the surface.
I'll consider it.
He'll consider it.
I
So
run this.
I love talking about this topic. And I went on a rant about it last week about why discipline is so important and why we need to have a different perspective around it, because discipline gives you the opportunity to have more freedom. Like, that's just, it is what it is. It is what it is. If you have more discipline, it allows you to have balance. And it is a mindset, right? If you think of discipline and you only think of like the military, or like, those kids that are that have parents that are like discipline, and never let their kids have fun. Obviously, that's not the discipline I'm talking about. Okay. The discipline looks like you having such order, right? We talked about that. Discipline means order, such order in your life that it feels good for you to enjoy the things that you desire, that might be frivolous, that might be like, I just want to go shopping today. Like, go do it, right? Because you're able to kind of internally do a checklist of like, this is done, this is done, this is done. I can do what I want to do now. Like, I got it all covered. There's such freedom in that. And it just helps you become a lot more like just available to the things that you desire to do with your time, and with the people around you and all that stuff. So
for me, it's all about the end goal in mind. Like, I'm not just going to be disciplined to be disciplined. Forget that. I'm going to be disciplined for a purpose. Like, I need to know what I'm being disciplined for. Like, what am I working towards? Like, why do I make my bed every morning?
Right.
If there's no reason for doing that, I'm not going to do it. There's no point.
Right.
But for me, it's something that just, it makes me feel good about my space. And if I feel good, then it empowers me to do more.
Yeah.
Sometimes doing that first thing, like taking that first actionable step, something as simple as making the bed, helps you to go on to the next step. It just motivates you. It keeps you moving.
Yeah.
So I like to have my end goal in mind when I'm staying disciplined for finances. That's big for me. So how do we do this? How do we stay disciplined? Hey, if that's what motivates you, girl,
what motivates me.
then get to work.
Vacations.
First and foremost, every single financial management group will tell you this. If you want to be disciplined, you need a written plan, a financial plan that tells you step by step how to stay on it. We call that a budget. It ain't sexy, but it's the fact.
It's the thing that's going to get you to your desired goal. And I told, when we were planning this episode, I was like, I do not want to spend a lot of time talking about a budget. One, because we have so many episodes about it. Now, do I get excited talking about a budget? Absolutely. 100%. I could go down, but we have so many episodes on why it's important to create a budget. So if you're interested in a deep dive into like, how do I start that? We might have some more in-depth episodes in our exclusive content, which again is within the $5 that we just mentioned, the Millionaire Blueprint Coaching. You also get access to any of our other exclusive content we've created, which we have a lot. So we do talk in detail about how to create a budget, what you should do first. We even talk you through our initial like budget that we went through. It's really funny. So there's all of that, right? But I don't want to, we know that if I were to ask you, how do you create a budget? You could tell me exactly what a budget is and what it's supposed to tell you, but do you do it? That's the part that I'm just like, you don't do it. That's the reason why you're still struggling.
Right. So you got to get on your written plan. So
that's it.
That's it.
Moving
Get on your written plan. Right?
Moving on. Yes.
Now, another way to stay disciplined, and for me, I kind of talked about this in the beginning, but I like to know what I'm being disciplined for, what I'm working towards. So it's very important that you have clear financial goals. That's going to help you, right? For you, you're like, my clear financial goal is I'm trying to go to Disney.
Yep.
That is the dream. That's what I'm working towards. So when you have that in the background of your mind or the foreground of your mind, you know what you're aiming at. You know what you're running towards. So you know why I'm making all these decisions that I would never normally make, right? Like who's waking up at 5 a.m. to go on a run? Nobody.
Yeah,
not for
nobody.
no reason.
Right.
But if you have a goal in mind, you're like, well, I'm trying to get to this point. I'm trying to run a half marathon, or I'm trying to, whatever your reason for
Or it
waking
simply
up.
makes me feel good.
Right.
Like it allows me to start my day better when I have a run.
It's the one time in the day where I have a little moment to myself.
Like it could be as simple as that. And I will tell you, our conversations that we have around finances, they are just really, they're fun because they make me feel like we're on track, that we're going towards something, that we're working on something together. And sometimes that gives me the most peace to be like, hey, how's everything going? We good? We good? All systems are go. I can really relax now rather than letting that anxiety and like feeling like build up. It just, I don't know. So yes, it helps me to create financial goals, whether they are mindset goals where it helps my mind be able to be clear to focus on things I really want to do. Or, you know, it could be other things like I'm trying to go on a vacation, or I'm trying to save up for this, that, and the other.
We've talked about goal setting a bit too, so I don't want to harp on this too much, but I will say this. SMART goals.
Oh yeah. Measurable.
They need to be specific. To just say I want to go on a vacation, that's not specific.
Or I want to go on 3 vacations a year.
That's
specific
very
enough.
vague in general.
Yep.
If you're specific and you say I want to go to a Disney cruise, well, that's specific. That's Pacific.
That's specific enough.
SMART, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic,
I was waiting.
time bound.
Oh, you knew all of that.
That's right.
Look at you. I'm very
smart.
proud of you. I was like,
smart.
let me see how far you can
So make sure that it's measurable and attainable and realistic. A Disney cruise is realistic for you if you can set aside
get. Yep.
the money every month. You say, hey, I'm going to come up with $200, $250 every month. I'm going to put it aside. And by time bound, by this month, after X amount of months, I'll have the money saved up. Boom, I can go.
I just want to make sure that people understand that that's not enough for a Disney cruise. $250 over a year. Is
Hey,
like
well, I didn't
$3,000.
say how many months. I said X amount of months.
Okay, I was gonna say that's like $3,000 over a year. You're gonna have to work a little harder.
How much is it?
You might. I mean, a Disney. Babe, we just like a Disney cruise.
You
is
did
like,
this. I didn't do this.
Oh well, that's why I do it because.
Is it like $5,000?
Yeah, it's like.
But that's for like That's for like a family of
That's
4.
like family of 4. I think if you're doing a family of 2, you're probably right on track. You could probably do it for
Shoot, I'm
$3,000.
going by myself. How much is it for one
Dude,
person?
I will go for about
1,800.
Probably like 1,800
There you go.
if you went by yourself. Yeah,
250 for like
dude. If that's the case,
8 or 9 months.
You know what? You just brought something to my mind because I
Whoa,
keep looking
wait,
at these
don't leave me
vlogs.
now. I want to go on a cruise.
I keep looking at these vlogs of people going on these like Disney cruises, and I'm just looking at them because I don't know. I just like looking at them. And sometimes they're just going by themselves or whatever. And I'm like, wow, they went on a lot of cruises. And now that I think about it, that's why $1,800 is not that much
For one person.
for one person.
Yeah, if you're not bringing your whole family, it's not too
if you go
bad.
on a Royal Caribbean, that's like $250.
So we
No
just
wonder
need
there
to-
are people going like on 6 or 7 cruises a year. Anyway,
We have to offload these kids onto somebody.
ooh,
That's what we need to do.
Grandma, if you're listening, we'll drop them off at your doorstep.
All right. So another thing that we just talked about recently, I feel like we talked about this recently, is building an emergency fund.
Oh, I know we talked about it recently. Building an emergency fund is obviously important if you want why or how to stay disciplined. Is that emergency fund is so valuable because if you have that in the back burner, you're able to be very clear on, focusing on the goal at hand that's in front of you. And okay, whenever I think about an emergency fund, I think about video games. Okay, I know.
That's wild because you don't play very many video games.
When I say video games, I mean like the very like Mario style. Okay, that's what I think about. So you know how like Mario turns into the star dude.
Yes, you sound like a boomer, but
Shut
yes, go ahead.
He gets the power up, right?
Yes,
And he gets the star
star power.
and he's able to just like fight off everything and keep going towards the flag.
How does the jingle go? Good,
Okay.
good. All right, I'm with you.
You're just okay. So I feel like that's what an emergency fund does for you, because your emergency fund is like the star power.
Gives you a little bit of immunity.
It gives you a little bit of immunity. You get it. You see it. That's what I think of every time. So it gives you immunity. So then when your car breaks down, you're like, I fixed it.
I agree.
Bloop, bloop, bloop. That's where all the turtles. Bloop, bloop.
Yes. All right.
The Koopas.
For a minute there, I didn't know what you were doing.
Koopas.
But yes, I'm here with you now.
Bloop. And then, you know, like you're able to bust through all of those obstacles that come through because you have your emergency fund. Now, eventually that star power, it runs out.
How many turtles or enemies do you have to destroy to get a level up or one up?
I don't know.
Is it like 7 or 8?
I have no clue. You're asking me something that's out of my.
You have to do it in a certain amount of
zone.
time though, because the chimes get higher until you get. Nah, I don't know what that is. Let's stop, Kim.
Okay, we're done. Okay, but all that to say, that's what I view when I think about an emergency fund. You have to like keep that thing nice and stacked so that when issues come around, that's your star power.
I 100% agree. Right?
So you can get to your desired goal.
That's going to prevent you from getting off of your routine, right? If you're staying disciplined, you know, you're investing money every month, you're doing whatever you're doing towards your goals. If your car breaks down, you're like, crap, I can't put money aside to the Disney cruise this month because I got to put it towards my car. But if you've got the emergency fund, it handles that.
It handles it
Now, you
for
are going to have to restock your emergency fund over time, but still, it's not going to completely derail you.
Even in Mario, he has to go back to.
Oh, we're still doing this.
He has to go back to fighting the Koopas. So eventually, you're gonna have to like build up your star power.
Is this just because you recently watched that movie? Is that why?
No,
you're
I'm
on this
telling
Mario
you.
kick right now?
Every time I think about emergency funds, I think about video games.
Okay. Have you ever told people this before? Or is this
No,
the first time?
This is the first time I've said it.
Wow.
I have a lot of analogies in my brain, so just stay tuned. You'll learn so much more.
Wow.
About how weird my brain is.
I've been with you for 20 plus years and I didn't know that's where your mind always
That's
went. Okay.
Just for emergency funds.
I've got questions now.
Just for emergency funds.
So things you hear all the time, right? These are just kind of like the norm. Stay disciplined, get on a written plan, put money aside for your emergency fund so that you don't get derailed. Make sure that you are setting smart goals so that you know what you're working towards. Okay.
Boom.
Let's talk about this.
This is one I was really excited to. Man, whenever Midday Kim is a different type of Kim than 9 o'clock at night Kim.
You're all, like you said,
I'm so excited.
You're peppy and chippy and
so happy. We're gonna like spend the majority of our time together.
I feel like I'm just more
about-
snarky.
That's fine. I'll take it. To avoid impulse purchases, because y'all, that is a main thing that I hear from clients that working with me that are like, man, I keep trying to stay on track, but this, I mean, impulse, like I see something at Target and I just got to get it. I can't stand the meme where people are like, I walk in with one thing at Target and came out with 20. And we all laugh like knowingly. And I'm like, are we just glorifying the idea of completely going over budget, of
Yes.
completely just, oh, YOLO, like I wanted it, so I got it. And then
I mean, how do you walk into Starbucks? I mean, how do you walk into Target and not grab
And
Starbucks?
not- you have
it's
to
right
grab a
there
Starbucks.
by
No.
the entrance.
don't get me wrong. I have,
So strategically placed.
I love Starbucks. I love Target. I get it. I understand what they're saying there. But I just think that in our society, we glorify the idea of overspending as if it's just the norm. And it shouldn't be. Like that's not wise spending. That's not wise living. That's not going to get you a better result. That's not, no. So I really hope that when you're listening to those tropes and you're laughing along with them, that you understand the balance of them. They are encouraging consumerism, which is only going to get you into a place of tons of debt, overspending, and your money isn't going where you really, really need it for it to go.
I feel like Target did it right. You think about Walmart and how they're connected with McDonald's, and they always put that McDonald's in like the back of Walmart. Like who's going to the back of Walmart to get some McDonald's?
Right.
I don't know.
In the front.
But like Target, they got it right by that entrance. Like you smell the pumpkin spice latte as you walk in the door.
I am not hating on capitalism in this regard.
I'm just saying from a marketing standpoint, like they did it well.
Listen,
Walmart has work to do.
They got to make money. I'm okay with that. Like I have no problem with the fact that people go to Target and they spend money. That's totally fine. I'm just saying, are you spending money that you
Is it planned?
Thank you. Intended on spending. Is it money that you were like, yeah, I'm going to go spend $200 at Target because I felt like it. Girl, if you got that, go for it. Right. But anyway, so let's talk about impulse purchases. Before making non-essential purchases, you need to kind of go through a mini checklist in your brain and ask yourself if it aligns with your financial goals. Now, I'm not saying that every single time you walk into Target, maybe I am. Every single time you walk into Target or Walmart or Kohl's or any store of choice where there is an option for you to overspend on something, you need to have a game plan. If you don't have a game plan, you are going to go into a spiral and create habits that you didn't really realize was there before. Do you have anything to say on that before I go off?
I was going to talk about identifying triggers, but is that going to throw you off?
No.
Here's what I like to do. Okay. If you know that you have a little bit of impulsivity when it comes to going, let's just keep talking about Target. Okay. If there is a weakness, why even flirt with disaster? If you know your weakness is Serenity Candles by Jan, then don't go down the candle aisle.
Yeah.
Like avoid. If buying clothes is your weakness, like stay out of the women's section, stay out of the men's section. If it's shoes, stay out of, I don't know why you're buying shoes at Target. Stay out of that shoes section. If it's purses, like avoid, just know your triggers, know what it is you spend a lot of money on. Like what is your weakness, and try to make a game plan, like you just said, to avoid those sections of the store and go to different sections.
Alternatively, right? Avoidance is an option. Another option.
Run straight towards it.
No, I'm just saying.
Smell all the purses.
All the
rub them over your face.
The other option is make a plan for it in your budget. If you like those candles, if you know that fall stuff is coming out and you've got a weakness, I just bought like that $5 piece of foliage over there from Target. That was an impulse spending, but I'm okay with the $5 impulse. I'm not okay with a $50 impulse. Do you see the difference? So have a plan of like, okay, we are going to spend
like a spending limit,
$50 on whatever I want in the store, right? And the thing is, if we really, I don't want to say, if we really boil it down to the simplest of terms, when I take my daughter into Target and she has money from her, Christmas gift or whatever, she has money that she's earned and she's taking her dollars in there. I'm telling her, hey, babe, you've got $20. Honey, where do you want to spend it? And she goes up and down the toy aisle. And we do this all the time. And she's got it down to a science where she will look and she'll find some things that she likes. And we'll make sure we put them all in the basket. And then she makes a choice. I am not making the choice for her. There is no like, oh man, I wish I had more money. Because if we could have that conversation, we can find ways to make more money if that's what you want. Absolutely, we can do that and come back and grab this other thing that you desire. But it's never, honey, I will go ahead and pay the difference. No, because you don't need that toy. You have enough at home. This is simply a gift. So which one from your money that you have do you want? And so I feel like it's the same thing. As we grow, we feel like, well, I make my own money. So if I want to go over my budget $20, then I can. Okay, well, then understand the repercussions of said activity. What are the things are you going to say no to as a result of saying yes to this? I have an example.
Okay.
I had a client recently that I was working with, and she messaged me and she said, Kim, I don't understand. I only have $500 in my account now. We had a plan, and this woman makes $10,000 plus a month cash, okay, from her job. And she's like, how am I at $500 and it's only September, like it's the middle of the September. How am I going to do this? And she has been, the way that she was tracking was not the best way. And I told her it wasn't. And so I'm not going to go into details about that. But I told her, I said, hey, let me look at this for you. Let me show me your statements and I got you. So I started tracking and doing the stuff for her in the correct way, just kind of showing her, here's how it should be done. This is going to get you the best understanding of where you are financially in real time. So as I'm doing this, right, I'm looking at how many times she went to Starbucks, to Target, to Kohl's, to Coach, to restaurants, to like, if you looked through your statement and you said, how many times did I say yes to me and today's wants versus how many times did I say yes to tomorrow and future wants or needs, right? You could go through and you could probably say, oop, I said yes here. And this is all personal right now things. I said yes. And when you see no yeses to your savings, no yeses to investments, no yeses, that gives you a really good understanding of where your loyalties lie. You are only self-soothing yourself instead of like focusing on the things that are in your future. So anyway, that's a good example.
I love that. No, and you've pointed in your example to a lot of things or a lot of points, right? Number one, I talked about running away, right? Mm-hmm. And knowing your triggers. I think it's still good to know your triggers, not necessarily run away, but you said, hey, if you know that's something that you want, then make a plan. Put that in your written plan for discretionary spending. Mm-hmm. I know that when I'm at Target, I'm going to want a coffee. So put it in your plan. Say that every week you've got $10 to coffee when you make your Target trip. Yep. You talked about our daughter and how she had $20, right? It's good to use cash.
Yes.
Cash is a beautiful thing because it's a set spending limit. Mm-hmm. You only got so much cash. And when you try to buy more than your cash allows, the person at the register is going to say, hey, can't do that. You don't have enough for this purchase. So you got to put something back or come up with some more money.
Exactly. Or you got to go back and come up with some more.
So make sure you set spending limits. I would highly recommend using cash. You do not need to run away from the purchases, but just make sure you know it's in line. Because like you said, if you spend 20 over and you're like, well, I don't have the cash, I'll just use my debit card, my credit card. If you go over $20 now, that $20 is going to have to come from something later. Mm-hmm. It's not just free money. It just doesn't magically fall away or disappear, right? Like right. That $20 is going to come from something.
Yeah.
It's going to come from your investments or from your savings. It's going to come from a category.
Yeah. And I know that might sound really intense, but it is intense. How many years have you been, spending your money in the way that you've been spending it and not feeling like empowered by your savings or your investments or whatever? How many years? So really think about that. How has that been multiplied over the course of, most of our listeners are probably, 30 plus. How many years you've been in making your own money? Probably for the better part of 10, 15 years?
Yes.
So how many years have you just been like impulsively spending on whatever you desire, and it really didn't give you, like, where are you at right now as a result of the spending that you did a decade ago, right? Rather than the person who a decade ago decided, I'm going to start investing. How happy would you be right now? How secure would you feel right now? If a decade later you'd be like, wow, I have this much in my investments. Thanks 10 years ago, me. And that's something that a mindset that I always have in my mind is I always think about the 10 years from now, me. 10 years from now, decade from now, Kim has a different lifestyle because of the decisions that present day Kim is making. And that has always been something, like, I can go back to 25-year-old Kim and I'm so proud of her. Like, there are times where I will like write notes in my journal to 25-year-old Kim. And I'm like, I'm so proud of you, because what you went through of saying no to yourself, of the sacrifices you made, of the conversations that you had to have with your husband to pay off debt. Like, by 25, we were done.
Right.
With our debt. And I'm not saying we were done and automatically we were like rolling in the dough. We were not. We had to start from a new ground zero, right? We had to start investing. We had to start saving up money. We still had to say no for a little bit until we got to that point where our emergency fund was fully funded. And we had to make a lot of sacrifices. We lived with my parents for a year. But then at the same time, we also went to Disney. We also got a pup. We also, which that's a whole different story. We went to, a football game,
An NFL game.
a
Yes.
pro football game. We had a lot of amazing experiences as a result. And so I'm just so thankful for 25-year-old Kim, because now 35-year-old Kim is reaping the benefits.
100%.
I told you this is my favorite topic.
Yes, and we have more to say. Now, when we're talking about this target person, right, this is a fictitious person who is seemingly undisciplined, and we're trying to paint a picture of what discipline looks like. And I think, you're spot on. A lot of people might be listening to this and saying, well, this fictitious person is just so fake. Like, there's no way anyone is spending cash like this. Like, they're not buying all this stuff just I feel like you're describing a child running through a candy section. But you work intimately with people's finances. Like, you are looking at people's budgets all day, every day, and this is what you see.
All the
People are spending their money all willy-nilly on stuff that's not really necessary.
I would say that if we can interchangeably use Target with Amazon, Amazon is another, because it's so easy. Amazon, one click, just, I want it, put it in the cart, purchase it. So here's another thing that can help you stay disciplined with avoiding impulse purchases, is to wait before buying. So one client that I had, and again, multi-million-dollar business that I'm working with here, and working with their personal finances, this is the thing that they constantly do. They, she would just put something in the Amazon cart and just buy it. Right. It would just be, but then as we started looking and running down the totals of how much has been spent in Amazon over the last 30 days, it was intensely expensive how much money was putting towards there. And they were like, what? And did I even need that? They really had to have a come to Jesus moment. And so I told him, I said, here's a strategy to wait before buying, right? So sometimes you might purchase something and your spouse will purchase it and you're like, wait, we bought the same thing or whatever. So that happens to them often because they're so busy. So I'm like, why don't you put it in the cart? And then at the end of every week, because none of it's emergent, just say, hey, do we need all these things on this list? We're aware that it's going to be $252. Okay, we're good. Now do it. So that way you're able to take things out of the cart that you don't need, put things in the cart, to decide if you really do need it this week or if it's something that can wait. These are the types of things that could help you in your online purchasing and present purchasing.
Buying things can be pretty emotional. Like, you run on that emotional high when you see something. You're like, oh, this is it. This is exactly what I was looking for. It's the right color. It's the right this. It's the right that. Oh my gosh, it's going to look so good right there in my house or in my car or my whatever. It's emotional. So if you can just wait, it's still going to be there tomorrow. It's still going to be there next week. It might even be on sale tomorrow.
But what if it's on sale now?
I know, right? Sales,
Everyone
man,
says
they
that.
come and go.
They really
Sales.
do. Are you serious?
We just got done with Labor Day. It'll be Black Friday before you know it. There's always something every month to bring you back in.
Always something.
And things get cheaper over time. So
Always.
It'll be okay. But my point is, it's emotional. So if you can just wait even 24 hours or a couple days or a week, then that emotional high is going to wear off. And if you still want it a week later, then it's probably something you're going to get.
Yep.
But if you're like, nah, I don't need that. I got something else going on. Or then you just saved yourself some money. You avoided an unnecessary expense. I've been seeing this a lot on social media where a spouse is walking with their partner in Target or a store. And they're like, I hold my spouse's hand while I walk through Target, not because I'm trying to be romantic, but because it's strategic. And it'll be the spouse reaching for a candle or something, and then the husband will kind of pull her away and pull her close and hold her hand a little tighter or give her a little side hug or something. And she's all like, oh, that's so sweet. But really, he's just trying to keep her away from the stuff.
That's manipulative. Your For You page looks so different than mine.
Does it?
Yes.
Mine is more geared towards men, I guess.
Yeah. Men trying to keep their wives from spending.
But it's supposed to be comical. But
I know.
My point in bringing up that little joke is accountability partners.
Yes. It's important to have an accountability partner. And I think going back to that waiting and that accountability partner as well, kind of ties hand in hand, is have priorities, right? Which is why we talk about having the conversation with someone about your financial goals is really important. Because if you're I really desire to have this trip. I want to go to Mexico. I want to go on a cruise. I want to do X, Y, and Z. And then, so if you go through and you have a list of this and you also say, I also want to start investing every single month. And I also want to save, $3,000. And I also want, like, if you have these priorities and you have like your highest list, then that accountability partner who knows this list is going to be able to hold you and encourage you to be like, you said that you were going to spend only X amount of dollars on additional spending and whatever miscellaneous stuff.
Does this align with your goals?
Does this align with either of these goals? And it's a very, very clear and simple question. It's just that you have to overcome the tantrum, the little toddler that's in your brain going, but I want it now. Like, you have to overcome that. And I don't see any like positive energy that comes from you constantly indulging that temper tantrum that's happening in your brain from that toddler. Like, nothing good happens from that, because you might be able to get it and you get that instantaneous, like, yes, I got it and I got what I wanted, and you get to be a little bit bratty about it. But then you come now it's time to go to your trip. You don't got the cash, or now it's time to go to that trip. And you're like, oh man, like I'm going to have to go and get another credit card specifically so that I can spend on this trip because I don't have enough cash for it. You're running yourself into situations that is not fruitful for your future self. So you have to get over yourself in that moment.
Okay. So Kim, this section on avoiding impulse purchases was one of your main speaking points that you were excited to talk about. Is there anything else that you want to get off your chest?
I do. This is really funny.
Before we move on.
We decided that we were going to just talk about, because we have this huge list.
We've got like 8 things that we want to mention about how to be disciplined.
Yes. And we said, let's just go ahead and just have a couple of conversations. Like, we don't have to talk about everything.
No, but I at least want to highlight them.
Yes. And so I told him, I said, you don't know. Like, this topic right here, avoiding impulse spending, is something I'm going to go off on. I'm going to have a lot of things to say about it. It's going to take the full time frame. And he was like, no way. Okay, here we go. So, but the other topic that I wanted to talk about, specifically about staying disciplined.
Oh, you just get to do all your topics. Okay,
yes.
I understand. I'll sit quietly over here.
No,
that's fine.
Next episode can be your episode.
Oh, okay.
So if you want to hear Daniel's, perspective on getting disciplined with your finances, that's next episode. This episode is mine. Automated finances.
Welcome to the Affluent Marriage Podcast, KG Financial Show.
This is the KG version. I should have done the intro this time.
Oh, man.
Missed opportunity.
Missed opportunities.
Okay. Automate finances is something that goes hand in hand with this, right? People ask me, right? And this is probably what you're thinking. Okay, Kim, yes, you're right. I recognize that I have an issue with, overspending, impulse spending. And this doesn't just go for women. I know we just talked about Target and shopping and girls and female things and Amazon. This is not a female driven thing. Men do it too, with tools, with games, with trucks, with
whatever their hobby is.
With whatever their hobby is. It could be
Pokemon
painting.
cards.
It could be Pokemon cards. It could be anything. Okay.
Anything.
We all deal with some type of impulse spending, and it's important for us to be aware of it and for us to have tools to help us so that we either can say yes to ourselves more in that frame and be okay with that, be content with that, while still being able to go after their, goals that they have for their future. Or we also have to have an understanding of, I recognize that this is an area of weakness for me. I love shopping at X, Y, and Z. I need to understand that I have a limit because I have future goals, and I have to get over the tantrum, the toddler in my head that is saying, I want it now, because I'm a grown adult and I need to act like it. The other thing that makes this easier in terms of how to become disciplined and better disciplined in your finances is automating your finances. One of my clients, I'm so proud of her. She's at the point now where she can finally automate her bills. She would always pay them just one at a time, calling them or going online and paying them because she never understood or never knew when there was enough money in the account. And I sometimes don't recognize that is a situation, like that is a flex when you're able to have all of your bills on auto pay and not have to think about what's in your bank account. Things I take for granted because I don't think about it. So Automating your finances, I think, is a really great way to help you, not only in your saving, not only in your bills, but also in your spending. One of my favorite methods is the 50-30-20 rule. And the 50-30-20 rule simply states 50% goes to your bills and necessities, 30% goes to your savings, or you could say this to your, you could do to your spending, and 20% goes towards your savings. You don't have to use these percentages hard and true. You can always mix them up and move them around, however it makes sense for you. But when a paycheck comes in, you should be able to think to yourself, I know I need this much for all of my bills, and putting it into a separate place specifically for your bills, so that when it comes out, it can be on auto pay and you don't have to think about it. And then the 30%, or I should start with the 20%, the 20% that's going into savings goes directly into your emergency funds or whatever funds that you're saving up for. So then you can see it, accumulate. The 30% that goes to your savings or to your spending allows you to have free reign. And you can choose if that spending includes groceries, going out to eat, or if it just includes you being able to say, I can spend whatever I want. And that 30% is your area of freedom. And so for a lot of my clients, that gives them the keys to be able to say, I can say yes to myself. And I'm like, yes, if you want to do something with that money, this is your money. But understand, you just kind of gave yourself an allowance in the same way that with my daughter, I say, this is the money that you have. If you don't have enough, you're going to have to wait till the next month, or you're going to have to earn it a different way. You're going to have to bring in income some way. It's the same thing here. You're going to have to think about ways to be creative to be able to get all of the things you desire within this limitation. And sometimes that is the thing that switches my clients from, oh my gosh, I hate budgeting and it's so hard to be disciplined, to it's already automated and done for me. I've already set up the percentages, and every time my paycheck comes through, it just automatically deposits to the accounts that I want it to go to. And I know exactly how much I have to spend on myself without feeling guilt. Automating your savings or automating your finances could be the thing that helps you stay disciplined on your goals while also enjoying the life that you currently have. Mic drop.
Wow. I think I just fell in love with you again. That was incredible. Yeah, I don't have much to say about automating finances, but I do love that it kind of makes things a priority. Mm-hmm. When you automate your investments, you're saying this is a priority. Mm-hmm. This is going to get pulled every single month. It's not a choice. Mm-hmm. It's not a choice. When you're not automating your investments, then it is a choice. You say, oh, well, do I put this amount aside this month for investments, or I really do have this trip coming up, or I really do need this remodel, or my car just broke down. I think I'm going to use this money instead on that instead of my investment. Mm-hmm. But when it's automated,
you're setting a stance.
You're setting the precedence. Mm-hmm. This is a priority. This is important to me. Mm-hmm. When something goes wrong and I got to fix something, I'm going to find a way to pay for that,
right,
and still invest.
Yep.
So yes, automation makes things a priority. I love that.
Yeah.
All right. You good?
I'm good.
All right. You got that off your chest?
I did.
You feel lighter?
I do. I feel lighter. I feel like I'm telling you, these are the two things that cause people to get off track. And I think automating is a really great way to just make sure that, again, like you just said, that you are setting a precedence, that you're saying, these are my priorities. I'm laying it all out. This is what I desire for my future, and I'm getting it all set in stone first, and then I can have fun with whatever's left.
So when you're trying to be disciplined with money, how do you do this? Some of the common things you'll hear is create a budget, create some SMART goals, build an emergency fund, prioritize your saving. You went in, we talked a lot about avoiding those impulse purchases. You talked about automated spend or automate your bills. Mm-hmm. Another common thing you'll hear is reduce your debt. If you want to be disciplined with money, you need to make a plan to pay down your debt as quickly as possible, because when you're not paying other people with your money, then you get to pay yourself. Mm-hmm. And you get to use that money for things that's going to benefit you right now, when you're walking through Target or going on Amazon, or for your future, for your investments.
Exactly.
So that's another thing that you'll commonly hear is you need to reduce debt to be disciplined with your money. Tracking expenses goes along with budgeting. making sure that you're being mindful and you're staying diligent and tracking everything, single thing that you do, and you're going back and you're reviewing. Other ways to stay disciplined. Sometimes it helps. We did this when we were kind of going through our drought or our valley last year. You know, when it doesn't seem like anything else is going well, you can always invest in yourself by educating yourself. So we went through like 10 to 12 different books within those 12 months. It was like every month or every few weeks we were buying another book to read.
Yeah.
And we were educating ourselves on financial principles and investments.
Yep. And options. And it was really helpful to just kind of stay motivated through that area because we were disciplined, but sometimes your mindset needs a little bit of a jolt. And that was really, really a good thing for us to invest in.
All right. I'm going to switch it up on you.
Okay.
I want to spend some time talking about living below your means because I feel like a lot of people hear this and they think to themselves, well, that's not an affluent mindset.
Absolutely.
That's like a poor mindset.
No,
living
it's not.
below your means. Like, what do you mean? Like living like in a box? Like, what are you talking about? Can I like let people know that Thomas J. Stanley wrote Millionaire Next Door and Chris Hogan wrote Everyday Millionaire. And these are both studies where they studied millionaires in America deeply, interviewed them, asked them questions, surveyed them, and they found out that these millionaires are millionaires because of the way that they're living. They're not living the way that you see the Kardashians and these celebrities and these people with these huge mansions, and they have massive garages full of cars that they're just showcasing. And, you know, they have gates and they have guards and they have basketball courts in their backyard and just gyms, and like their whole world is in
money.
But you know what I mean? Like, it's like they don't leave their house because their whole world is in that gated community almost. That's not millionaires. That's
a different stratosphere.
That's not really what you're working towards.
No.
Millionaires are millionaires because they live below their means. They make affluent decisions. Can they go buy big old boats and big old trucks and big old homes? Absolutely they can. But the reason they're building generational wealth and the reason they're able to invest and accumulate so much money is because they're making smart, affluent decisions day in, day out. So when I say live below your means, I'm not telling you to live in a box. I'm telling you that when you go to the bank to get a loan for your home, don't go buy a home that's the same number that the bank is willing to lend you. When we were first looking for our home, the bank gave us $400,000 to work with, and we were making combined $56,000 a year.
It's ridiculous.
We didn't go find a $400,000 home. We went and found a $145,000 condo. And that's where we started our first home after we saved up almost like 10, 15% to put down. That's living below your means. We live great.
We do.
In this space. We have everything we could possibly need. We love it. Now we are looking to go up, but we've been here for a little while. But when we get that next loan from our lender, we're not going to go find something that's top of our loan.
No.
Right? Same thing when you're getting an auto loan. We're not going to go use every single dollar that we can get for that auto loan. Like a vehicle is literally something that takes you from point A to point B. I know some people really get into the glamour of it and they want something super nice. But at the end of the day, like it's just a means of getting you from here to there.
Yeah.
Do you need something that's going to cost you $1,000 a month? $1,000 auto bill for that brand new truck.
That might last you 15 years. Maybe. Is that really worth it?
So how do you be disciplined with your money? One way to do that is to live below your means. You're not overextending yourself financially. You're spending less than you earn. You're being mindful about your lifestyle inflation. You're avoiding those unnecessary expenses. Just because you get those raises, just because you're making more money, doesn't mean you need to spend more money.
Right. what living below your means really is telling you is that to give you more choice. You want to live in a way that allows you choice to get the boat. You don't have to because you don't want it. Like, why do you want it? You know what I mean? Choice to.
But if you do want it, you have that choice to get it.
But if you do want it, you have choice. If you want to go, like, you have choices. And even like, you never want to be in a situation where you're like a rubber band and you are strapped like completely at your like, oh my gosh,
you don't
one
want
more
to be
thing.
You don't want to be shackled to your mortgage or to your auto loan.
You don't want to have to what is that thing? You don't want to live to work. You want to work to live. And that creates choices. If you or your spouse decided to cut hours or step back from work or whatever, if that would cause a huge rift in your finances, and it would be an immediate, like, oh, we would notice it immediately. Like, we would have to cut off so many things. We have to change our lives drastically. Then you are not living below your means. That's a very good indication. I'm not saying you have to live on one income. That's not what I'm saying. But I am saying that you should have enough cash flow, enough assets that you would be able to say, okay, well, if my wife or if my spouse decided that they wanted to enjoy, time with their family and they didn't want to have to work a full-time job and they wanted to work part-time and they wanted to spend time building a business that's around, I don't know, underwater basket weaving. That's the pride and joy. And you want to be able to say, yeah, babe, go do that. That is your life's passion. I want you to enjoy that. You want to be able to say yes and be able to give that spouse the ability to choose how they're going to build their business and not have to worry about whether bills are going to get paid, right? That's the exact situation that Daniel and I were in, where I said, I want to stay home with my daughter and I want to see if I can make a business work. That's what I approached him with. And he said, okay. Like, there wasn't a, oh no, but we're not going to have money, girl. You're going to need to go back to work because we don't have money like that. Like, we had enough that we can handle it. So living below your means is not about living in scarcity. It's about allowing for abundance.
Being modest where you can be modest and being bougie where you want to be bougie. In that moment, our bougie was you being home with our daughter. That was the flex. You living at home with our daughter, raising her, being with her, having that time. In that moment, that was our bougie. And we were modest where we could be modest, right? We were modest in our living. We were modest in the vehicles that we drove. We were modest in the amount that we ate out, right? We had modesty in our lifestyle.
Yes.
That's important.
That value-based
and that's a
budget.
choice, right? So I think this is interesting. Let me tell you how to live below your means. And this sounds very similar to some of the topics you were talking about, right? Just real quick and dirty. Live below your means. How do you do that? You're going to create a budget.
I can't.
You're going to live.
Say it over and over and over and over and over
You're
again.
going to live within that budget. You're going to differentiate your needs and your wants. You're going to set financial goals. You're going to avoid lifestyle inflation, right?
Noticing
You're going to build that e-fund, prioritize your debt management, automate your savings, cut unnecessary expenses, avoid those impulse purchases. And that's what I was saying. A lot of the things that you're doing here to build that discipline is the same as like avoiding those impulse purchases, right? You're making a written plan, you're sticking to it, you're not going above and beyond, you're focusing on your goals because that's going to drive you and give you the discipline to not buy those unnecessary things or those impulse purchases. You know what? Buy used. Bargain shop. You changed my life with that as we were looking for that oven, right? I tried to fix it. I tried to be like a bargain shopper and fix it myself. Didn't work. And then I had a little temper tantrum. I was in Lowe's and I was ready to just buy the newest oven that I saw. And you're like, pause, wait on that. And I'm like, no, I want to be able to cook pizza. And you're like, no, pause, wait on that.
It's just a pizza.
You're like, let's go look at some liquidators. Let's see if we can find an appliance for cheap.
And we did.
Because we just needed to match the aesthetic and to cook. It doesn't need to be the newest thing out there. And I don't know why. I guess because I was just in my frazzled mindset where I was like, dude, I'm sick and tired of not, because I failed at repairing this thing.
I didn't feel like you failed.
I was in
like,
a moment.
all right, good job. You tried it.
I tried. But buy used, bargain shop. Focus on the value, right? I just need that oven to cook. That's it. And match the aesthetic. It's just got to be stainless steel. I don't want no white oven or black oven in there. I need it to match the aesthetic. But just keep it simple. So all of that, embrace the modest lifestyle, avoid keeping up with others. My goodness.
That right there, I think that's the biggest one. Keeping up with the Joneses is the reason why many people are just living in debt, because they're like, well, subconsciously, so-and-so has this, and that's how I really like them and admire them, and this is how they spend their time. So I'm going to spend my time here too. And well, so-and-so has this, so I should get that too. Yeah, that's what I really want. And again, that consumerism can come through big time, especially with social media. It's insanity.
Spending money you don't have on people you don't like.
Yep. Or people don't even know. Like, they don't even know you. And you're spending
on things
money.
You don't need.
Like,
money you don't have on things you don't need for people you don't like.
Yeah.
Boom.
That's it. So
that's the quote.
Let's not do that. I think the best thing that happened from the pandemic, and I know people are like, oh, but like, is that people started embracing a very modest lifestyle. People started saying, wow, I actually really love going on walks. I actually really love planting things.
Until they got that stimmy money.
Yeah, well, and I actually really like reading books, and I actually really enjoy painting.
Dude, the PlayStation 5 just came out.
Yeah.
I got some stimmy money.
But I'm just saying, like, people really started to enjoy like the simple things and realized, why am I working so hard? Why am I working so hard to be at a job that doesn't really fulfill me in the way that this is fulfilling me? Find that modest lifestyle where you feel fulfilled just by things that are around you. Whatever that looks like, find that.
All right, so we really hemmed and hawed today on living below your means, avoiding impulse spending, and automating expenses. Know that financial discipline takes time. Mm-hmm. It takes time and it takes effort. But with consistency and dedication, you're going to develop the habits necessary to improve your financial well-being and achieve your financial goals. Give us the call to action.
Call to action.
The CTA.
You know what? I was actually just going to say something, and I'm just going to follow the prompt of my heart. Listen, if you have found that you are listening to this and you're like, and you're thinking of excuses in your minds, you might be like, I know I need this. I know I need this. I know I need this. But how? How do I keep up with this? How do I get disciplined? I keep having so many issues with impulse spending, or with finding an accountability partner, or with coming up with a budget that makes sense, because I keep feeling like I have to go one step forward and then 2 steps back. And I'm like, come on, like, I just want to understand how to get past this. I highly encourage you to get some professional help. I would love to support you. If you're listening to this, get into my DMs, KG Millionaire Coach, and say, Kim, I would love to find out how to work with you so that I can understand how to get over this. I need someone who is going to just tell me like it is and tell me exactly what I need to do, and I'm ready to go do the work. I just need someone to hold me accountable to that.
And that could be pocket coaching, or that could be your one-on-one service.
Yes, but I'm absolutely talking about my one-on-one service here. Like, you need a real human being. So if you need that along with the blueprint coaching, yes, we can totally bundle those things together. Get into my DMs, but understand that this is not something that we learned in school. This is not something that for many of us, our parents taught us. And so it's okay if you're feeling a little bit like, man, I feel like I should know this. No, you shouldn't. It was never taught to us. It was not something that's in our society. We have to learn how to do it ourselves. So learn from other people who have mastered it and who are passionate about teaching you how to get to this goal for you, and help you get there even faster than if you try to figure it out yourself. Let's make 10 years from you proud.
Let's do it. So your call to action today is to seek professional advice or help.
To get into my DMs and talk to me about this.
All right. I love that. I love that.
I'm being bold today.
Guys, go live in love, walk in wealth. Take care, y'all.
Bye. Bye.